Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name, for the first time in a long time commentating, is Mr. Evil Dragon, and welcome to Gran Turismo Sport, a game which I haven't commentated on in about a year. Joining me for the first time in also about 2 and a bit years is my good partner, Mr. Rotary. Say hello, Ethan.
Hello, Liam. It's been a while, hasn't it? Been a long time since we've been partnered into the commentary box on Gran Turismo Sport, a game we haven't commentated on in about a couple of years' time. So it's a bit different, but it's GT3 cars. We know a lot about GT3 racing, so it's a bit of a homecoming, isn't it?
Yeah, long time, of course, from former leagues back, all the way back to, of course, GT Racing. One of my favourite series. People say F1, but it's the GT3 series that has always been closest to my heart. And, well, we've got a familiar face. Well, me and Ethan have got a familiar face who I can see. And it's Mr. Captain Slow, the man who is, well, in practice, he's the quickest by a country mile. Now, the question is, Ethan, can this man replicate that in qualifying?
Well, it's entirely possible. Captain Slow, despite his name, was about 1.17, nearly 2 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else in practice. Now, Lewis Edwards, a good friend of ours, we've been racing him for nearly 7 years now. He's been in multiple esports teams with not much success, apart from inside Max, the team that I'm in, and winning in a few British Touring Car Championships. He can replicate his performances from practice into qualifying and the race, but it's been a while since he's done GT3, but it's entirely possible. But there is stiff competition in here who are going to be looking to give Lewis a run for his money.
Most certainly. Indeed. Well, so I'm just going to go and put the old stream link into the Discord, because I'm getting told to do that. But it's going to be quite curious to see some of the other drivers as well. We've got the likes of Noah, we've got Kermit, and all the other guys as well, including someone I haven't seen for a long, long time, and it is Mr. Babber O'Reilly, who, of course, Luke Etheridge, who is a good old friend of mine as well, good old former, well, current commentator as well, who I always used to love commentating with as well. So it's a commentator reunion, this is.
Certainly. So we're in qualifying at the moment, 18 minutes. We got a bunch of drivers on super softs, a few on the soft tyre as well. We've got a whole variety of cars here as well, MR cars, FR, we've got some concepts in there, we've got some actual, real GT3 cars, such as like the Audi R8, the Porsche 911. I mean, it is the RSR, which is, well, this particular version, the first iteration that came along in 2017. Obviously contested in GTLM and GTE, in IMSA and WEC. We've got the fictional Honda NSX GT3 in this game. Unfortunately, not the real NSX, but maybe in GT7. We never know. The old AMG GT3, the Toyota FT1, the Audi R8, the Supra, which is going to be, I think, pretty formidable here. The Supra GR Racing Concept, a pretty formidable car in Gran Turismo Sport. And LAGO MAGGIORE, I gotta say, a brilliant circuit. Fast flowing corners, this amazing banked corner at the back end of the circuit with that downhill plummet, and then throwing the car into the corner. Though if you get it wrong, there's a big, massive sand pit waiting for you, and hoping you do make a mistake. So if you end up in there, it's just a downhill mess from there onwards. But yeah, we're into qualifying. Track limits also going to be another thing to watch out for, of course, but the times are coming in, Evil. Let's see how they're getting on.
Noticing Lewis, by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this, on the racing softs currently. Now that is, this could be a very bold strategy here from Lewis. There is, of course, 30 minutes. We can come in and put a set of those nice, shiny, brand new racing superstars up, and that could be quite curious to see what he can do during this. Everyone else, apart from, we've got Machino on a set of racing softs. Everyone else seemingly on a set of super softs. So a little bit of a mix right now in qualifying to see who is going on what, as a few people exit the pit on brand new set of supers and racing softs as well. So lots of alternative strategies right now, and a circuit which has been in my opinion, one of the more popular circuits for GT racing. That is, of course, not a real-life circuit. Always, it's got nice flowing corners, of course, as you mentioned earlier, that nice downhill braking zone where the kitty litter is so easy to pick victims off, especially on the exit. All it takes is a little wiggle off and round you will go. Of course, running aboard with Buenzi right now, who is currently coming through the sweepers of, well, I think it's turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Which is just kind of a left, right, left, right, left, right. And then, of course, you come up the crest. And then all of a sudden, you dive downhill and the speed really rapidly picks up. 150 miles an hour currently. That's going to go up to about 170 miles an hour where you slam on the brakes, chuck it down into third gear, into the right. Over there, that's where I say it's so easy to go wide off and spin. Luckily, keeps it there. Now back up the hill into this pretty much flat left, right, of course. Some cars you might need to lift, especially later on in the race. And of course into this double apex corner, but really you only take one ideal line, slightly let off the turning mid corner, but absolutely fine there. Right the curb on the inside if you can, and then of course spot the braking zone, end of the curb, down there into fourth gear, down into third, then shut the front end in, build the revs all the way back up on the exit. And that is a simply lovely lap of old LAGO MAGGIORE, missing, of course, half the first sector.
Yeah, and I've actually got to mention, we were watching Lewis in practice, and he was suddenly exclaiming in the party as we were with him about how he was suddenly finding a lot of pace, and wasn't quite sure if it was normal. He ended up doing a 53.7. Well, I think Lewis has probably just found out that it was probably just a normal thing, because the Supra, like I expected and what probably we expected, has gone faster with a 53.6. Like I said though, Lewis on the softs, alternative strategy, tyre where he is on ×3, and the Supra is actually going purple in sector 1, so with potential for a 53.5, maybe even a 53.4. I mean, this circuit is incredibly popular with the world finalists. You know, the FIA and Gran Turismo Polyphony Digital, they pick this circuit a lot for the World Finals and the World Tour. I mean, it's popular among a lot of league racers and league organisations. I mean, it is just a fabulous circuit. Although that uphill sequence after the bank corner, it is flat out. In the dirty air of other cars, though, you might struggle to take that flat out. I have come a crop of many misfortunes of trying to take a flat out behind another car, ending up wide into the Tech Pro barrier, and then being spat out into the middle of the circuit and being T-boned. So if you get it wrong or end up going wide, it's pretty miserable. But yeah, some drivers on the softs. Lewis is now coming out on the super soft, so now we're going to have what looks like a titanic battle between Lewis Edwards, Captain Slow, versus NRC Buenzi. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. From Switzerland, pretty nice country if I might ask. Going there hopefully next year, so that's the best I can do to make up for the fact that I can't pronounce his name correctly. But I mean, going through the field, it's pretty close, but like I said, I mean, some drivers on the supers, some on the softs, probably not much of a difference between the two in terms of pace, but that tyre degradation is going to be the key factor here, and there's a lot of high load corners, a lot of corners where you have to hang on the brakes a lot where you have to chuck the car in and commit. Tyre temperatures is a thing in this game, but it's not quite as advanced as what is in F1 or Project Cars 2. There is tyre flex though, so it's going to be interesting to see, and obviously we've got different drivetrains as well, so the wear and fuel rates, etc, is all going to be different. So a good mixture here, which is going to provide some, hopefully, some unpredictability to the results and the racing.
Yeah, most certainly. This is going to be curious. Now, meanwhile, the man who is leading the championship, Babarali, or Luke, as I most commonly know him, because that's his name, of course, currently starting his first flying lap. So down into turn number 1, second gear, chucking on the inside curb. Now, you can really run the inside on the yellow paint there, deciding not to do that. They're taking a bit more of a shallower line, and now it's not really taking all the line you can, missing the apex there, but of course might just be warming up for a potential second lap. Kind of burn a bit of the fuel off, of course, which, well, there isn't any fuel or tyre, I'm pretty certain, right now in qualifying, so there's that one. Just taking a little bit easily right now.
I think he joined in a little bit late into the session. There was a bit of questioning of whether he was going to be here on time. So he's probably just trying to get used to the car and the circuit layout. But yeah, at the moment he's a little bit just trying to find his lines. I mean, this circuit is all about trying to open the corners as much as possible because so much of it is high speed. The more track width you can use and the more you get a little bit more comfortable on those curbs, that's when the time starts coming in. I mean, especially in the final sector and the first sector, there's so much track that you can use where you can gain quite a lot of time. Obviously, you got to be careful. Strong track limits is on, so if you push that a little too far, you're going to get dinged with a penalty. And it's not a warning, it's a straight time penalty, and that can range between, I think it's 5 tenths to 3 seconds sometimes, depends on how severe you cut it sometimes. But I think this track is actually quite tame apparently compared to some other circuits. I know Le Mans is notoriously bad for giving you track limit penalties, but yeah, Baba Riley, he's a little bit, I'm just on board with him, just watching him at the moment, and he's slowly just trying to build his pace up, and maybe towards the end of the session he will bang in a competitive lap time.
Yeah, meanwhile, talking of lap times, and the man who is currently trying to go quickest of all, that is Mr. Lewis, of course, as Riley set a 58.1, so that's, of course, a bank lap right now. He's currently last, I believe, of all. But that will definitely...
Sector 1.
Yeah, Lewis, purple sector 1, so this could be very good. Little bit squiggly, the rear end stepping out, using all the curbs you can use on the exit of that corner. And then here we are, the last corner. Down 2 gears, Honey Badger, 154.186. Lewis very, very wide through there. Would that potentially have invalidated his lap time? We will find out right now. The answer is it's not quicker. It's a 154.307. He will go again, but a little bit wide into turn number 1 this time.
He's going to have dirty tyres from going wide there. I think he just tried to carry a bit too much speed into the corner. He's backed out of it. He's got some time to do a lap, probably about 2-3 laps maybe, but the pressure's on. I really thought he might have cakewalked this. I mean, that sounds a bit harsh to the other drivers, but I was like, he's come into this session, was like over 1.5 seconds faster, and then all of a sudden he's on the back foot trying to find pace. He's just under 6.5 tenths off the fastest lap, so he's under pressure to perform, Lewis Edwards, but sometimes he can pull a miracle lap out of nowhere. But to be honest, I think any driver here could possibly do that, but it looks like Brinzelli's on a lap as well, potentially. He's just coming out of the second turn, just going on board with him. The lines he's taking, his throttle and steering input, his braking inputs, it's all smooth, it's all kind of in one fluid motion, so there's no overcorrections. He's not having to get off the gas early because he's put it on to get off the gas early or too late. He's braking where he needs to brake. He's purple in sector 1 again, just under a temp, so there's definitely time in there. I think he's on the limit though, so if he tries to go beyond that limit, he's probably going to end up off the circuit. So this is what we'd like to see, a driver pushing the limit just to see how much time they can gain. It's car and driver in one, and that's what we like to see.
Indeed, of course. Supra currently top of this leaderboard. Then from the Audi, then of course the Porsche. So 3 different manufacturers topping the top 3 so far. Into the downhill banked corner we go. A little bit wide, very wide, might we say there. And that corner, as we mentioned, so easy to lose time. And let's see, of course, next to cross the line, I believe it will be Honey and Slow. So let's see if the Badger can bump up the order. 5 tenths off of pole. And I think, yeah, they might be both on out laps, yeah. So, my apologies, but...
next one's Conti, and I think he's just below his... Oh, someone's just actually gone for the line. Actimel in the Honda. 155. It's not bad in the Honda, to be fair to him. But yeah, I mean, as you saw there, Brinzelli, I just think that's basically the best to call him. Like I said, he was on the lap there. He was finding a lot of time, and then just went beyond that limit. Very unfortunate to see, but he's got a second chance.
Yeah, Conte does not improve. Meanwhile, what about Neymar? What's he up to currently? Well, he's doing better in the real life one right now. He's currently in 7th. which is, I believe, about, what, 10 places higher than the Ballon d'Or from Mrs. Neymar. So, already on to big things. So, further the last corner, the Mercedes snapping away on the rear. The front end just about holding on then to the line. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve on his lap time? He does not so far. So, next across the line, I believe behind that, we've got a few cars coming through the back end of the circuit. We've got one or two in the pits.
Is on a good lap as well. A personal best in Sector 1, a purple Sector 2, or is that a previous lap? I know this is the current lap, I believe. So let's see, he's purple in Sector 2 again, and he's more than what he was last lap. So if he can keep it good through this banked corner and hold on for the rest of the lap, this could be a pretty untouchable lap. And he's not gone into the kitty litter this time, so now it's all about carrying the momentum through this final sector now.
Yeah, this could be quite interesting indeed. Well, let's see, meanwhile, we've also got Lewis coming through the last corner. Let's see what the Porsche can do, because he, like we've seen, seems to be pretty quick right now. Crosses the line, goes second fastest. 3 tenths off the pole so far. NRC Brenzelli then absolutely flying with just over 1 minute to go here in qualification. That will mean this will be, well, his next lap will be the last one he can get. But can he go quicker? Bit wide, might compromise at maybe a tenth. But let's see, across the line, I think this is going to be even quicker. It is even quicker.
Well, 1 millisecond. I mean, compared to how far up he was earlier, I think he's lost a bit of time in those final few corners potentially there.
Commentate up there, 155.357. So he's up then, now into 4th position. Noisy currently in 5th, Actimel in 6th, Neymar ahead of Rosegard in 7th and 8th. Maschirio, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, currently in 9th.
I believe.
Yeah, Maschirio ahead of Barbaro Riley so far, who's currently through the 2nd sector. Let's see what he's up to then as he comes through the back end of this circuit.
Lewis is also improving. It was a purple Sector 1, it's a personal best in Sector 2. If he can hold the rest of the lap together, he might potentially jump into 1st place. Oh, a bit of a squiggle on the exit of the banked corner there. But still, he could potentially nab pole or just improve and close that gap down.
Let's find out then. Brenzelli looks like he's backed off his lap time, so he is happy. He thinks he's got pole. Let's see then, next across the line, I believe, looking through the order, it's going to be Rosegard that's across the line with 3 seconds to go in qualifying, so he will get another lap. And let's see though, Lewis through the last corner, really over the curbs, and this one looks committed. A little bit wide through the exit of the corner, but again, absolutely perfect on throttle to the line. Can he go improve by 3 tenths of a second? He does improve just a tenth low. Directly 2 tenths off, which I must admit, I do like when I do that.
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying, but wow, I thought Lewis might have had the potential there, but he's got some competition here, and it's not just one driver, it's quite a few drivers, so it's going to be interesting to see who, between the top 5, who can do it. Honey Badger's just had a bit of a moment out of the banked corner there, unfortunately.
Audi, pointing the wrong way.
Conti across the line. Not an improvement, unfortunately.
Noisy is.
Noisy, though. Ooh, and he's jumped Lewis. Where is he? I'm struggling to find...
2/100ths of a second.
In the Ferrari as well, so fair play to him. Only, 2 milliseconds as well. That's just how close it is. Neymar's coming through. I think he's on an improvement. Let's see. No, unfortunately not an improvement. I think that's everything.
Let's see, Luke Orsolab. I don't know if he's improved much. We'll find out, of course. Let's see, the championship leader. Seeing what he can do then. He's currently on a set as Noah improves there to 158.124. Let's see what Luke can do then. Through the last corner, currently 3.8 seconds off of pole position. Can he find any time and up the order? Well, the answer is that he does improve to a 156.7. Unfortunately, though, 40 milliseconds off of the car ahead of him. But that is, I believe, qualifying over. I think we might have one car potentially currently on a lap time of Rosegard.
Yeah, in the Mercedes, he's coming to the final corner now.
Backed out.
No, definitely not on a fast lap there.
And I believe as he's just getting a little bit of weaving on there, warming those tyres up to celebrate his lap time, and that is qualifying done in 1 second. So your order of qualifying, as it's now officially ended, is Benzelli from Noisy, Captain Slow from Honey Badger, and that is your top 4 or 5.
Unfortunately, it doesn't give us a lot of time to look at the results. Unfortunately, Gran Turismo Sport. Maybe in GT7 we might get a bit more time to look at
Honey
it.
Badger, Neymar, then Conte, Actimel, Rosegard, Mashiro, Baba Riley, Noah, Kermit in 12th position, lining up the back row of the grid. Well, this is the moment then. Getting ready for what is 5 lights. When they go off, of course, 50 minutes.
We've got a few jump starters.
And we are underway then here in LAGO Maggiore. It's a good start from the Ferrari there, absolutely bolstering of Honey Badger left in the dust. And I think that must have been Lewis down into 4th position. He's dropped a few positions as well of the start of this race. But it is the Ferrari from the Audi, the Supra batting away then hard with the Porsche, sitting right up behind. And then we've got Actimel in 5th position. A few people dropping, as you mentioned, a few jump starts down the back. But what a start from Noisy there.
I know, the Ferrari's pretty nifty off the line. The Porsche and the Toyota Supra, they just bog down. There's just nothing you can do about it. That is just the way these cars are. Lewis is making a dive up the inside of Brunzelli. Not going to quite do it there. That corner always favours the outside driver if you're not fully alongside. Can we just talk about Luke? He's gone from 10th up to 5th. Courtesy of the amounts of people, I've got to say, messing up the start atrociously, might I add. I mean, like, the lights weren't even on, and people were already moving, trying to replicate past Maldonado at Spa 2012, which, best jump start of all time.
Got a move here, Benzelli up the inside then already, not even before we've got to the end of the straight. The Supra blasts his way past then. Behind him you can see the Porsche just holding on right now. Is Benzelli a little wide? The Ferrari's wide as well. And here Benzelli now into lead of the race. Are they all going to fit through this correctly? Contact between the Audi and the Ferrari, and the Porsche just slits in between, but the Porsche almost drops it on the curb. And now the inside, can the Ferrari send one? The answer is just about no. But this is great racing on the first lap here, a 50-minute endurance. Well, a 50-minute race might we add, and this is what GT racing's all about.
Yeah, it certainly is. GT racing, it's always close, and of course we've got the FIA BOP on, so the cars that, well, basically, it's what the cars run in the Grand Tour. Well, the Grand Tour? The World Finals. My apologies.
Lewis, up the inside?
Lewis, yeah, a little bit too far back. The Porsche is good, but he's going to need a heck of a slipstream or a bit too much grass there. And Lewis has got a concern here because the fastest car in qualifying is already into 1st and could potentially pull away. So if Lewis wants to get a sniff for this win, he needs to get into gear and get past this Audi R8 as quick as possible. But that is not an easy task because the Audi, a pretty decent car in general on Gran Turismo. The Porsches are quite a safe car, quite easy to drive, quite understeery though. The Toyota Supra requires a bit of finesse, requires knowledge of how to drive it, because if you're shifting wrong, you lose power. If you turn in too early, you know, so it's quite clear Brunzelli knows how to drive this Supra, because he wouldn't have got pole if he didn't know how to drive it. So Lewis is going to need to get a move on, and I think that move is coming up very soon.
Well, let's see then. On board we are. Let's see, is he going to sliver one to the inside now? Pulls out late on the brakes as well from the Porsche. The Audi trying to hold around the outside. Can't do it low. Lewis keeps within all 4 wheels of the track, so he doesn't end up spinning himself off in the gravel. And now, can he go chase after the leader? I'll tell you what, the top 3 have definitely pulled away from 4th. I'm wondering if Noisy's made a mistake somewhere.
Potentially, he's also on the soft tyres. Top 3 are on Supers. Which is actually quite surprising. The Ferrari, albeit on the less grippy tyres, managed to get that magnificent start. But this could be playing into Noisy's hand. He's by himself. He's not having to worry about other cars. It's just, how is the strategy going to play out? Obviously, back in the day, when you pitted, the car would just teleport into the pits and it would be like maybe a 15-second stop. That's been changed recently, and now pit stops are a little bit more realistic. So there is a lot of time lost in the pit lane, and Lewis fastest lap, so he is proving he's got the pace to catch the Supra. But it's one thing to catch; it's another thing to overtake.
I mean, what great scrap here for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th position here between Luke, Neymar, Actimel, and Conti. So these three all battling together. Oh, apologies there. A little cough in the back of my throat, but I tell you what, Luke, from where he started, I got the replay of the first lap, so we'll have a little look in due course of his race start. And like we said, from pretty much 10th to 5th within one lap, currently holding that 5th position, but already a 6 second to 4th and 9 seconds to the leader. Of course, meanwhile, as we said, Lewis starting to close down that lead a little bit now, 6 tenths, 4 tenths then to Honey Badger. Noisy keeping with these guys though, that's quite crucial. And then this humongous battle here, and here we go then. Let's see, outside or inside. Neymar's going to try and hold around the outside then. That's going to be brave stuff then. The inside line, normally the high line. Let's see, can he do the old switcheroo through the undercut there? Luke's going to try and crowd him as much as he can. And let's see, outside, love the inside for the next corner if he can just hold it. And this could be brave. Can't quite do it there. Just backs out. Has he got a nose into the next part though? He might just have a little look. And I think Luke has that one in the bag.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Wow, this has allowed Conti to... Oh, wow, with a tire on there, and he's making a move on Neymar up the inside in the penultimate corner. He's vulnerable though to being re-overtaken into turn 1 because the Mercedes is mighty in a straight line, but Conti does have the fortune of being in Luke's slipstream, and the Porsche is not a very quick car in a straight line, and Conti's going defensive. He had to just give Neymar a bit of a notice there, just saying, look mate, you're not coming, I'm aware you're there and you're not coming through. So he's just making Neymar aware that he's not going to make it easy if Neymar wants to make a move. Actimel, unfortunately, he's fallen off a little bit. He's on the medium, so we got drivers on alternate strategies here. We've got an NSX on the mediums, a few cars on the supers, one on the softs. Lewis has a 9/10 penalty, so he's picked up a track limits violation there, and he's dropped out of the tow range of the Supra as well. So this is quite interesting. I don't think fuel's on either, because the fuel is not depleting.
It might seem that way. I think you are correct there. Let me just get that up. Yeah, fuel does not seem to be depleting. Now, as far as I'm aware, fuel should be on. So unless there's been a mistake, or if we are...
Fuel depletion off.
Ah, so there it is off. So there we are. So that's going to make it very interesting. It's all going to be about tyre wear then, and to see who can make what, because no fuel, of course. Now, reminder, if I'm correct, that some cars here, well, most cars should be able to do 40 minutes, even on 3 times, dependent.
Some cars will do nearly over an hour, depending on fuel. It depends on how close shots. Oh, a big dive from Neymar into the fast sequence of rights. And Conti's just kept it on the circuit. They all got a bit close in the uphill left, right, and it's allowed Luke to scamper away a bit there. It was very close there. It was a heck of a lunge. I don't think it was intended, personally. I think he kind of got spooked and just made a move, even though he probably didn't want to do one. And he's looking on the inside of turn 1, but backs off.
Let's just have a little look at it then from this view then. So gets a good undercut to the inside and they arrive side by side into the last corner, late on the brakes, and they just kind of make apex, well, corner front to front. So a little bit of contact there, and then of course ends up being side by side to the exit of the corner. Not a lot you can do through there, as they all sort themselves out in the end, which is good to see.
We've got Rojard making a move on Noah J in the mint Mercedes. Reminds me of Jimmy Broadbent a little bit there. I'm sure he'd approve of the minty Mercedes, and Noah losing the rear there in the NSX. The NSX is not an easy car to drive. I mean, if you drove it in the Red Bull Beat the Pro at Suzuka, even some of the F1 drivers were struggling, most notably Sergio Perez.
I tell you what, Ethan, I'll cut you off here. Look, this battle here between Baba O'Reilly, Neymar and Conte. These three are going at it like hammer and tongs right now. And now, all of a sudden, Luke down into 7th position. Now, how has that happened, I wonder? Let's have a little look at the old replay then. So he's already been overtaken before they even get to the corner. So it happened very early on. So he must have got overtaken, presumably around the outside in the S section, and we have someone off there, but I think, was that?
Looking at the replay, it might have gone a bit too wide, potentially very easy to do so, and if you end up wide there, it's dirty tire, he's got to lift off, so he could have made a little bit of a mistake. Rojar's on the back of Actimel now as well, who was on the medium, so this could be a pretty easy pass for Rojar too.
Oh,
and then up the road is MAGGIORE.
Noisy, he spun as well on that. I wondered what happened to Noisy, because he dropped back on the replay showing he spun on the exit of that S, of the hairpin there, on the curb, and it's so easy to do that, Ethan, isn't it?
I think that might have been an auto spin. I think that could have been an auto spin curb, personally, there. Gran Turismo has a few of those. Some in Spa, some at Fuji, Bathurst. And it seems Noisy got caught out by one there as well, unfortunately. Lewis is now up to 1.9 seconds of penalty, so I think Lewis is probably getting a little bit
flustered,
frustrated. Yeah, I think he's going to be getting a bit annoyed with the track limits. He gave some colourful words to us when he found out what the strength of the penalties was. But that's Lewis. Just looking through the field there, Conte. He is pushing on. He's trying his best, but Brazzelli, he is planted. I mean, I'm just looking at his mileage in the Supra. I have kilometres on, because even though we're British, we use Imperial system. I prefer metric. He has 3,807 kilometres driven. Lewis, nearly 4,500 kilometres. And we like to see Neymar's going for a move there.
Yeah, couldn't quite do it. Tried up the inside there. Conte holds the line with his Yaddle kart. Let's see, won't do it around the outside. That's not going to work, Sunshine. Thinks better of that one. That could have ended up an almighty of how those cars understeered there slightly. Thinks better of it. Now, the best slot try here, because we know how quick that Toyota is. Yeah, Honey Badger dives in. The pit lane.
I'll keep an eye on that once you focus on the battle.
Let's see, are we going to go around the outside? I'm wondering if Conte is going to come in the pit lane here. Around the outside, Neymar completely doesn't that. I think we're going to see a car dive straight into the pit lane of Conte. He is diving straight into the pit lane, and there he goes into the shadow realm of the pit lane.
Good stop for Honey Badger. He's onto soft tyres. I think he's going long.
Indeed, 38 minutes to go here on this race. We're already 12 minutes down this race, and so far, so good. I must say, meanwhile, though, we have, of course, the top two closing up, and now, look at them, 3 tenths apart, and now Brinzelli's got a penalty. Somewhere.
Yeah, 9 tenths. Lewis for 1.9. Conti's come out into last, but he's on the softs as well. So it looks like they're going fat. They're going with an aggressive strategy. Wear off the softs in the first 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes.
Going for it. Let's see. Sorry to cut over, even up the inside. Lewis trying to go for the lead then to the inside of the corner. Can he do it? Yes, he can go for the lead through that corner. Beautiful little move there. And let's see now. The question is, we know how good the Super is. He's literally pushing him through the corner. Lewis a little bit wide. He's on the grass there. Let's see, because that opportunity there. No, he can't there. This is turning into a ding-dong right now. These top two line astern, switching and swapping positions. Lewis now back into the lead, and I'm wondering if these two are going to go dive straight in the pit lane right now. Let's see. We know the cars behind have started to do it. They're not yet.
No,
so they're thinking
they
long.
Have such a huge gap, though. And it depends on how good they are at saving their tyres, but Honey Badger is caught onto the back of Noisy. I think Noisy, it's time to come in potentially. The soft tyres don't seem to be working, and the Ferrari eats its tyres. Once they start wearing out, it's
flashing the lights, I think, to let him through.
Yeah, and Brinzelli is just falling off the back of Lewis. The gap is extending. It's over 1.1 seconds.
Let's have a look at the tyre between the two pairs of cars, and you can definitely tell the Porsche using less front tyres, but a little more rear tyres from that. So it just looks like Lewis has now decided he's got the bit between his teeth, and now's the time to go pushing and try and gap it. Maybe he was just playing a little bit cool, but Honey Badger is only, what, 18 seconds with a pit delta of what? Normally 15?
Well, we can't tell it doesn't actually give us the amount of time it takes to get to the pit box, how long the pit stop takes, and then obviously the end total. So we've got somebody else in the pits, Noah J in the pits, he's just come out on the soft tyres. I'm presuming it looks to be about, it could be about 21 seconds. I think that seems like a good amount, potentially, and the gap's starting to ease out between the top two. Obviously, we've got Conti making his way through. He's catching up to Rojard. We've got a few more drivers yet to pit, of course. Honey Badger is going to be catching these guys quickly. But so far, quite a titanic scrap between the two up front. And it seems like it could go all race long, but Lewis is, I think he's going long. He's quite the strategist when it comes to working out what strategy to go on, how long he needs to drag the tyres on, how long the car will go on fuel. Obviously, fuel's not a factor at the moment, so he's just got to think about his tyres. And it also depends what brake balance they're running. If he's running a little bit sort of forwards, no wonder his front tyres might be wearing a little bit more than his rears, but it seems Ronzelli using that left front a little bit more than Lewis is.
I think Lewis might be going for around about, I think, lap 15. I think that's when those tyres, was looking at them, and from my limited experience, and mine, I'm a lot more limited at you comparing to where the tyres are now to where they imagine they would be in about 5-6 laps time, is about what I'd imagine would be where you start to really drop off on the tyre performance. So I think he's got about 5 laps potentially at this rate.
I think that's about right. 5 laps. I mean, when the tyres start going off, it's like going off a cliff, basically. The grip just falls away. Unfortunately, we've lost the driver. I can't quite tell who. I think Noah J. has, yeah.
Well, we
decided to drop out, unfortunately.
It's a shame, of course. Even if you are struggling, of course, it's always a part of the learning, but
it's always worth trying to finish, yeah.
And of course, sometimes that happens. The gap's really dropping again.
Yeah, it seems to be back and forth for these two. 1 minute Lewis pulls away. Next minute, Brunzelli has a response, and it seems to be opened up a little bit more. I think the Supra's struggling in the final sector.
Yeah, you can see the gap. Then all of a sudden, it goes to 9 tenths in kind of the quicker section. Lewis really wide there, but carries on. And then
just wondering if Brunzelli's gonna execute the undercut early. I'm just wondering if maybe it might be worth just trying to see if the undercut works here, because as soon as you're on fresher tyres in Gran Turismo Sport, you just gain time. That is just the way it is. There's no like track evolution or any skepticism about what tyres works or not. If you're on fresher tyres, no matter what compound than anybody else, you are faster. So I think it might be, yeah, you can see he's struggling to keep the Supra in a straight line. Neymar's in. I think it's time Brunzelli came in, tried to execute the undercut and see if he could try and jump Lewis for track position.
But look how
you can see he's struggling. He's struggling so much. And Lewis is going to be seeing this, and he's going to be like, well, his tyres they're just a little bit better, but they're not much better. But he's going to be seeing Brunzelli just dropping off the radar, and Lewis is not going to be feeling under any pressure to keep him behind.
Well, let's see the gap now, 2 seconds. So really, right now,
Honey Badger is reeling second place in.
16.4 seconds off the lead, with, we believe, between 15 and 22 seconds pit delta.
Brunzelli's going to have to be very careful. He could end up behind Honey Badger, but albeit on fresher tyres towards the end of the race.
Yeah, 31 minutes to go, and if I'm correct in my thinking, Ethan, what tyres Honey Badger currently on?
Honey Badger is on softs.
Yeah.
I feel like Lewis is going to go on supers again, maybe. Or he might go softs, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any ruling on whether there's a mandatory compound you need to run. So, I mean, it's Brazzelli's staying out. I'm very surprised. I'm just going back through the field. Rojard is on mediums. Actimel's on mediums. We got Kermit, who's yet to come in. His tyres are actually looking very good for 20 minutes of running. Neymar on the mediums. Conti on softs. Mashiro and Baba are battling it out. They're yet to come in, I believe.
Yeah, looks like
it. We've got Noisy still yet to come in as well. But I think, no, he's just having a bit of a wiggle on. And Honey Badger is reeling Brunzelli in.
And meanwhile, here we go then. Mashiro trying to go up the inside. Luke squeezing him all the way to the pit wall nearly then. That opens the steering up. Now let's see Mashiro up, trying to go up the inside. But remember, it doesn't matter if you get the inside of turn 1 because the next corner, a right-hander, as long as you hold the inside there, you can't get past. That's what I learned that the hard way once upon a time in a league race. Ended up speeding out spectacularly at turn 1. But let's see what we can do. That's on the inside. I love it. I love that livery from Mashiro. It's very Japanese. Yes, it's very Japanese. It's
very Japanese.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's see, anywhere out the outside. Oh, he's hit him.
A bit of a bump on the rear there.
A bit of argy-bargy.
It's a bit accidental. Oh, yeah. Both on old tyres, so, yeah. I'm not surprised. Baba's actually... He's catching Noisy as well, so I think Noisy is really trying to go long, so he has fresher tyres towards the end. Maybe that's been the strat all along. Gap up front, over 2 seconds now. I really feel like Brunzelli's got to be coming in now. I mean, the gap is just consistently increasing, and if this is the way it's going with the tyre wear, he's going to struggle to catch Lewis towards the end of the race if this is the way it's going.
I mean, well, these two still battling it out.
Yeah.
They're back to USA.
Second place is leaving it. He's in dangerous territory here. I mean, Honey Badger is drifting out of the final corner. That won't do his tyres any good. The only advantage I can see Brunzelli having towards the end is that even if he doesn't catch Lewis, he will have fresher tyres. He will have fresher tyres than 3rd, 4th, and 5th if they do manage to jump him. But Lewis is just extending that gap and could pit. Well, he could do the overcut, pit after Brunzelli, and come out with fresher tyres and then just waltz away. So, if Brunzelli's going to pit, he has to do it soon, because otherwise he's going to be outside the pit gap of Lewis, and the only thing Brunzelli's going to have going for him is if Lewis makes a mistake, and that doesn't always happen.
Meanwhile, Luke finally being passed by Mashiro. They're great scrapping there down into turn number 1. I'm wondering now, is Luke going to try and come straight back at him? We've been seeing that the Porsche very powerful around this circuit. It's currently leading the race by 2 seconds. And let's see if Luke can try anything there. Mashiro a little bit wide there. The rear end you can see just struggling around there. But both of these cars, like you said, Ethan, still yet to stop with now what? 20, we're coming towards half race distance.
Yeah, and Conti's catching up to these two as well. They're on board with him, poking out there. Luke went a little bit wide there, I think. Neymar's also catching up, and he's on the medium, so those tyres could last quite well towards the end. They've got Actimel there as well. Kermit is also coming, he's on the softs.
Second place in.
Out, he's coming in, so he's trying to execute the undercut. He's going to fall below. He's going to go past 3rd. Well, Honey Badger's drifting it. I think Noisy, he's got to come in. That left rear is seen better days. I mean, he's literally just drifted through every corner. Here comes Brunzelli. He's out.
Racing softs.
Yeah, racing softs. Honey Badger's tyres are looking a little bit worn. I feel like he could jump Honey Badger still.
I'm wondering here if Lewis might stretch this out to around about another, like, 2 laps if the tyres can last. You can see they're definitely struggling. Maybe go on a set of super softs again and then just really try to hammer it in. He will have to do time management at the end, but You look at it, Ethan, he's lost half the race so far, and he's got a 14-second buffer. If he can do the same on the same set of tyres, of course, we've seen no ruling that you have to do.
Well, I've just noticed that most drivers are going on different tyres, though, like after they've made a pit stop. So does Lewis know that, though? That is the question. Does he know you have to go on another set of different compounds? But I feel he's going to come in now. I think it's going to come in. And I don't know what tyres he's going to put on. If it's supers again, and that is against the rules, that's quite unfortunate, to say the least. But if he puts on the softs, then it's fine. And I presume he'll probably just... Oh, yeah, he's gone very wide. I think he's going to be coming in this lap.
Yeah, meanwhile, do you mention Conte a lap ago, Ethan, battling away?
Oh, he's lost it. Oh.
Well, he's not battling away anymore. Oh, he wants to
Oh.
Wow.
Close.
What we could say there is that's not gone well.
No, not gone well at all. Lewis is in, like I predicted. Conti's very fortunate. Gran Turismo Sport doesn't have an in-depth damage system. If that was any other game, that would have been race over.
Just on the curb, it looked like Lewis. He went wide, got on the grass.
In as well.
Ah, got on the grass. That's what happened.
Okay, Honey Badger in as well. Lewis is on the softs.
And look who it is leading this race, Benzelli. I'm wondering if Honey Badger's gone on for a set of super softs here, you know, Ethan.
Mediums.
Mediums.
Strange. I'm not quite sure
He'll make
why.
it to the end. And now he will easily make it to the
game
end.
on at the front. Mashira and Riley in. No, Luke, sorry.
Yeah, it's super soft versus soft there. And we'll find out now. This is going to be the interesting thing of seeing what tyres will Luke go back out on. If it's also going to be that. I'm wondering if anyone's going to do a double of super softs. Yeah, see, Luke's doing that.
So he's got his supers. There's Actimel.
And Lewis, 2.8 seconds of penalties. Now, that is going to be critical. These are critical moments in this race. I think he could have gone on a set of super softs.
I feel like he could have done that, but like we said, we don't know if there's a ruling against that. I mean, it seems there isn't because Luke's done it. He's gone from supers to supers. And Lewis getting penalties, I mean, he has the potential to even just stretch out that gap despite having, you know, the penalties. And he has the advantage of a couple of laps fresher tyres, so we'll see how it goes. Honey Badger, I don't know why he came in and went on mediums personally, unless he was just struggling on the softs and just wants a durable tyre towards the end because he feels he can just hold that gap to Neymar, who is also on the mediums. Noisy is working his way up to fourth as well, along with Conti.
Meanwhile, here goes Luke going one way, then going back to the other. He's up the inside then of Actimel. Up the inside he goes into the right-hander at the bottom of the banked hairpin. And he's done that one pretty well so far. But let's say gap up front, 1.1 seconds with a 2.8 second penalty. 22 minutes to go in this race. I'd sit down and get ready. This race is not over by a long shot.
No, definitely not. Lewis making incremental mistakes, but he's gone purple on soft, so he's on it. He is on one, and when he's on one, he's pretty darn quick. Sometimes, you know... Oh,
what's happened here? The 4th, 5th, 6th? Oh, what is happening here between 4th, 5th and 6th? All kinds of carnage. I'll have a little look at that there, but as they go side by side, I wonder, are they trying to let each other through? Let's have a look at the replay. Let's see what happens. So, Noisy, is he going to end up misbraking into Neymar? Yes, he does. Oh, dear. Late braking there. Didn't quite work it out. Unfortunately there, they kind of respawn in each other. That's just unfortunate, but good sportsmanship between the pair of them there. That's the stuff we like to see.
No, it's certainly the stuff we like to see. Just looks like he misjudged his braking there. Just caught at the back of Neymar. But he waited up, which is a good thing to see. Obviously, he's got bypass now, and he's all over the back of Conti and the FT1. I feel like a dive could be coming here. He's going to have to be late on the brakes. He's looking... a bit more contact there. I feel like there was a bit of hesitance between the two of them there. There was a bit like, oh, is he going to go for it? Am I going to go for it? And they kind of just met in the middle sort of thing.
Let's have another look at it, Len, again. And let's see. So, gets the run up the inside down the hill. So we get the slipstream. Then, of course, here comes the moment. Goes to the inside line. Now, let's see, Len. Has the nose in, just kind of not there at the point. I think Conte thought he backed out of that one. I think.
Yeah, looking at that replay, there wasn't really much of an overtaking opportunity. There was a bit of an unfortunate push to pass there as Neymar is in. I think he's realised mediums is not the way to go.
I think so. Meanwhile, up front, it's now 2.7 seconds penalties.
It's hovering around 9 tenths, 8 tenths to a second. As you can see, the Toyota's just gapping the Porsche in the high-speed stuff, but the Porsche catches up in towards the end of the lap. Honey Badger there in third, a pretty lonely third, if we must say. But I'm sure he's not complaining. It's a podium, so yeah, whenever you're in the podium positions, unless you're one of those people who know you have the pace to be winning, settling for third usually is the bare minimum.
Yeah, 43 seconds. Meanwhile, Noisy to the leader. I'm not mistaken in saying this, that yeah, Racing Softs, Racing Mediums for third, fourth, fifth. Definitely on Warner tyres, I must say there. Definitely potential for another stop later in the race. Sixth, seventh, also closing up on that set of Superstars as well. So Luke's got 1, 2, 3 positions he could gain in this race still.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but then again, Super Softs lasting 18 minutes. I mean, look how Conti's tyres are going, and they're soft, but he's been pushing it quite hard, it seems. Noisy's on a personal best lap at the moment, which is good to see. So the pace is picking up. I don't know if he's going to catch Honey Badger in time, though. 24 seconds. As Lewis is still hovering, 1.1 seconds is the gap. I think Lewis is just biding his time.
Yeah, most certainly. He's definitely just sitting there, maybe just kind of keeping within a buffer, not using his tyres as much, just to try and close up a little bit. And that's going to be the interesting thing. The gap now 9 tenths of a second, now 1 second again. He's gaining, losing, gaining, losing. It's kind of a cat and mouse game right now. Further down the field, let's keep a little eye out on this, is MAGGIORE catching up to Conte right now. Now, Conte, of course, on that set of worn Racing Softs compared to, of course, the much fresher and comparative Racing Softs on MAGGIORE as well. So those two closing up behind Lemlo, both for the FT1s, is Barbara O'Reilly, now 4.5 seconds behind. And this could get very interesting as the last quarter of this race now begins.
Yeah, I'm just watching Neymar as well, who is hounding the back of Actimel in the Monster Energy GTR NSX, which confused me because I thought GTR would have given the name. You would have thought it'd been a Nissan GTR, but no, the Honda NSX, and I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge for the mighty Mercedes AMG GT3. The Honda NSX pretty puny compared to it. And I think it's just going to be a pretty easy blast past. By saying that, he's not exactly blasting past him. Here we go. Just so much more grip on those Super Softs. Textbook move on the inside. Job done. Off to catch Luke now.
Yeah, about 7 seconds. I was about to say 1 minute behind that, but that's wrong. It's 7 seconds. Oh, no, he's off. Well, he might not do it. Oh, there's a bit of contact on the exit of the corner. Well, that is pushing it. And that is pushing it a little bit too hard there for Neymar. And, well, Axel Mel, a little bit wide on the exit of the corner. These guys are pushing these cars as hard as I think they can handle right now. The tyres are squealing.
Conti's in. Oh, wow. Oh, Actimel wanted to come in and Neymar was on the inside. I haven't seen that in a while. Wow, that could have been a monumental accident into the pit barrier there as Neymar has jumped Conti, who was on fresh softs, but Neymar's on fresh supers, so that's interesting. Poor Actimel though, wanted to get in the pit lane and there was a humongous Mercedes just sat on his insides.
It was just like, well, I want to come in, please let me in. And then, of course, finally, reluctantly went, okay, I'll lose a bit of time to get in before one of us ends up both in the pit lane, and that will not be ideal. Meanwhile, up front, gap, guess what? Still 1 second. The penalty low situation, slowly coming down. Lewis has removed 2 temps now. It's now down to 2.4. The gap is kind of... It's definitely looking more like the Porsche just... maybe millisecond by millisecond bringing that gap down. You can see though, especially right now, it's just staying, well, I say it's just staying equal, but it's just halved in about 1 corner. So what do we know, Ethan?
Looking at last laps, Brazili are 154.930, Lewis are 154.527. Oh, and that gap has just shot right down. He's right into the slipstream now.
Oh,
so Brazili has made a big mistake somewhere because that gap was... I mean, Lewis is now just pouncing all over the back of him. This is an opportunity he can't give up. This is like Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen here. Those two know if any opportunity to get past one another rises, they're going to take it no matter what. As we have seen a couple of times this season, and I feel like this is what's going on here because these two are so evenly matched despite being in 2 very different cars. Any opportunity that arises, they're going for it. He's going to have to because I feel Lewis might die. Lewis ain't going to... Lewis would be a bit on... He definitely thought of it, but why maturity and experience told him, no, not going to do that. Going to get in where the Porsche's best and the Toyota is a little bit weaker.
Let's see, won't be doing anything up the inside here, I most certainly don't think. No, knows better here, these corners here. You can go side by side through here, but it's very much, you have to have half a car up the inside already. Lewis just getting rid of another half a tenth of penalties, now down to 2.3. Let's see, again, Benzelli just covering there. Lewis, a little bit lenient here, just letting the steam off, just opening the lock off. Now has the inside line, let's see then. But remember, you can get the inside here, but it doesn't matter too much because if he gets the inside, he has to really squeeze the car out wide. Because if that car then has the inside for the next one, as we've seen, you can hold position.
And he couldn't get up the inside because that Toyota just started gapping him. Lewis had to get back into the wake of the Toyota just to keep with him because the Toyota just... Oh, wow, it's a very interesting... The Honey's in again. I think he's realised mediums is not the way to go. And he could be setting himself up to some vulnerability from Noisy, but Noisy pitted a few laps ago. Lewis is going to be looking for a move here. It's going to be an almighty lunge, and here he goes. And that could be the move done unless Brinzelli can get a...
He's got the line.
Can get the line. He's alongside. He has the outside line, but Lewis has the... Lewis... breaking a bit early to give him a... Wow, side by side from here.
Look at this.
Oh, keep it clean. Keep it clean. It's good. It's clean. Still side by side. The Toyota's going to have the advantage here, though, now. Lewis is going to have to back out because that Toyota's going to start streaming away from him.
It's just holding line, though. That's it. Now gets into the slipstream. Now goes to the inside line. Can he dive up the inside? Thinks of it, still can't do it. And this is turning into a dinger, about a little bit of gravel getting kicked up on the exit. And boy, howdy, look at these two go at it. We don't see this very often at the top racing. This is GT3 at its utmost best. Top 2 cars, Porsche versus the Supra. And right now, Lewis is just about trying to hold on a little bit wide that time. Loses a couple of attempts. Now got back to 4 tenths of a second. But this is turning into a scrap and a half with now, what, 11 minutes to go.
Yeah, Lewis has made a few incremental mistakes there. That's allowed the gap to extend. But it's not over. This is going to be 11 minutes and 20 seconds of these two going at it. lap after lap after lap. Just hopefully it doesn't end in tears. Brazili's gone a little wide there. It's allowed Lewis to close that gap again. He's looking for the inside. Oh, Lewis getting a tank slapper there. You see Brinzelli's having to take tighter approaches into the corners, whereas Lewis is able to use the full track width just to carry that a little bit more speed. You can see both of them on the ragged edge, but is Lewis going to dive again here? It worked nearly last time, but I think it's a bit too far back this time, yeah. Coasting into the corner this time.
You could definitely tell even Lewis is definitely better on the brakes right now. He's got braveness. It's all about now, really, you want to be about 2 tenths behind into that corner if you're going to make a dive. But then you've got the conundrum. If you could dive there, you've got to go side by side through here unless you really squeeze it out. Even if you do, it's not guaranteed because we know how quick the Super is in a straight line. If he gets the slipstream, it could be straight back past you. Even down here, you really want to be about, what, under 2 tenths? Let's see, he's close. He could have a chance here. He's lined it up.
Here, he needs to. Oh, it's close. Oh. I mean, there's contact, but Lewis had a significant advantage. He was sufficiently alongside. I think Brinzelli, he tried to hang around the outside. Luckily, it didn't end in tears. And I think Lewis made the race decisive move.
Oh, he's going back on the inside!
With a dive bomb. He's gone wide. Lewis saw it coming. Wow, I was not expecting that. I mean, fair play to the guy. I mean, that was pretty impressive, to be fair. He gave Lewis a run for his money there. He was like, yeah, you went up the inside there. You know what? Have this. I'm going up the inside. I mean, it was a clean attempt. It wasn't like
what's less, Louis? For now, let's see. He's gonna go back at it the inside. Look at the Supra. Go up the inside. Can you do all the brakes? Yet see. Yowie wowie up the inside. There's almost contact there on the apex. They just about line it. That is what I say about if you hold the inside into that corner, you can get the inside into the next corner. And that is the crucial thing here is now Lewis needs to get rid of this penalty. 2.1 seconds needs to go, well, down. But where do you go when you've got a car sitting within, what, 0.2 of a second that can just suddenly go up the inside out of nowhere? We've seen it once already. Lewis needs to start trying to open this gap up ever so slightly. And now he's trying to do it.
He needs to get about 1.4 because obviously Brinzelli's got 7 tenths to his name. So, I mean, but it's not easy, clearly. I mean, Lewis is now in the position of having to defend against what he's just done against the Supra just a lap ago, and you can see it. Just look at it's like watching the Mercedes W12 against every other F1 car in Brazil. It's just a rocket in a straight line. Lewis can't even defend. It's the move's done before they've even braked.
He'll be brave to hold around the outside. Can't do an undercut. Might try to hold the outside, then try got the inside to the next corner, but that's going to be brave stuff. Trying to hold it up the inside into this corner. Knows better again, though. Lewis just knowing where the limit is. Brinzelli, though, almost doesn't know where the limit of that is, and that almost could have ended up with a snap on the wall. And we know how this game can work, even with sometimes the barriers sticking out a little bit.
Yeah, they certainly bite. Lewis's penalty is now down to 2 seconds. He's just nibbling away every time. Oh, the tyres, though. Lewis's rear tyres are starting to look a little bit worse now. That left rear, he's been leaning on it quite a bit. A little bit more than Brinzelli, but Brinzelli's been leaning on that left front as well, so these guys are going to start encountering, well, Lewis is going to be encountering oversteer, Brinzelli understeer, so it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle that. But this is back and forth, 7 minutes to go. It's anybody's game, it's anybody's win. Let's just hope they keep it clean.
Oh yeah, this is going to be the race of the season potentially so far, and this is only the second race of the season, and these two proving that they can go at it already. And what you can say about these top two is they have been the class of the field here in LAGO Maggiore.
Sorry to just cut over you. We got Actimel in the NSX looking for a move on the minty Mercedes. Oh, he's on the gravel. How has he kept that? Wow, an impressive drive in there from Actimel to keep that NSX on the road. This is the battle for 9th place. Oh, he's kind of caught up behind the mint Mercedes. It's been a bit of a quiet race down the field.
Lewis
just decided to check out what was going on at the back. He's up the inside. Lewis Edwards up the inside. Move done. Can he hold on to it?
This is the conundrum question of this race so far. Lewis can get through, but can he break the toe or just try and force that car a mistake? Lewis needs to be careful here. That car's going to go up the inside. Otherwise, he has the nose. He's losing the rear low slightly, and he almost nuts Lewis. Has to back out of that one, though, because you can't do 2x2 into there about both cars being very, very much slower. And these guys are coming to lap now 11th position of Kermit the Frog, who is currently down at the back. Doing a good job, though. Carrying on, even if you are a little bit lower. But let's see Benzelli. Let's see, is he going to chuck one up the inside? I think he knows better now not do something up the inside there. Lewis bouncing over the curbs. Now again, the question is, can he find a gap as Kermit's going green.
Oh, he was already green. Doing some lawn mowing, because we know Mercedes are making lawn mowers eventually. Don't know when. Getting out of the way in a strange way, but he's got out of the way. But soldiering on, which is what you like to see, no matter where or how fast. You know, he's carrying on, so that's good to see. And the battle for first rages on. And Lewis, he's in a rock and a hard place here. Because he can't get away no matter what. And he needs to bleed this penalty down, and it's not happening. The only way he's going to get ahead in terms of time is if Benzelli goes wide and gets a penalty himself.
Lewis is going to have to cover the inside here. Indeed, he is going to cover it. He'll need to force him now. Start pulling left. Force him as wide as you can go. And that's the only way you can do it, if you can do it. Let's see, though, the outside line from Benzelli still can't do a lot there. And that's a lot better from Lewis. That is what he needs to do now for the rest of this race. And then also get rid of, well, a lot of penalty. Or try and pull a gap. Oh, he's hit the wall. And this is now just turning into a little bit of a moment now where Benzelli has to try and find it, but you can see the front end snapping. I think his tyres are going even now more. Look at the front tyres. They are completely shot. I think they've gone.
The front left, it's under a lot of load during the lap. And we're starting to see what happened in the first stint where Lewis's tyres, Lewis giving up his penalty. Very strange. Why has he done that? 3 minutes to go. He's got 2 laps to catch back up. That is very tactical from Lewis. And
well, yeah, but look, now he's only got 6 temps. Does he know that his tyres are gone?
He might have done, because he might have seen that gap just shoot up. All he has to do is get him within 4 temps. I mean, look at the gap. It was just about over 1 second. Oh, this is nail-biting. Has Lewis just bottled it, or has he just done the masterful strategy of the racing history, just ever?
Well, let's find out. It sits at 8 tenths of a second. Now, from looking at these tyres, Ethan, as long as Lewis's tyres don't go, look at the front tyres. They are, what, we say 60%?
Maybe about that. Once they go below half, it starts getting pretty tricky. But Lewis's left rear isn't much better. But Lewis is in the issue now of having to catch back up to the slipstream of a Supra. Maybe he bled a little bit too much of his penalty. And he's going to look a bit silly if he gets another one.
Yeah, well, this could be interesting then. He's got to find
They're going to have 1
3
lap.
temps. Yeah, 1 lap to find 3 tenths of a second. And that gap is opening up now. Benzelli suddenly has decided he wants to open it. I think Lewis would have not got rid of all of that penalty. Just got rid of as much as he could have, just to keep with him. But you can see, though, 8 tenths, 7 tenths of a second using all of the road. 7 tenths. This is going to go down to the last lap of this race. It's going to be decided on penalties. But who is it going to win it? Is it going to be Lewis? Is it going to be Benzelli? We've got 1 lap to go here in LAGO MAGGIORE, but the leader goes wide. The leader's wide, and now he's getting rid of the penalty.
He's still on 3 temps, and he's lost the position.
Wowee! Well, that is going to be that is amazing, simply amazing. Now, can Benzelli somehow muster some speed up? Lewis's rear is going. Benzelli's going as well, and this is they're all over the place. Their tyres are gone, and now let's see slipstream time. Is Benzelli going to have anything in the tank? We know the Super is quick. If he's going to make a move, he'll have to try one down the inside.
It's going to be a heck of a dive, because Lewis is aware of what that Super is capable of. But as long as he sticks within 3 attempts, he doesn't have to worry too much. But I mean, that gap's opening up, but Lewis's rear tyre, that thing is going to be opening up now. That thing is going to be
You'll have to cover
horrific.
again.
And look at the run the Super has got here. I don't think Lewis can defend much against that.
He's lifted the gap, and he sold the dummy. Now the inside line, can he do it? Lewis is going to have to try hold one around the outside, or at least just try and do something. There's a bit of contact on the exit, and this is going to go down now to the last couple of corners. 0.2 of a second. Can Lewis do anything here? This is going to be barnstorming. Barnstorming of a finish. Can he do anything? He has to just stick with him. 0.2 of a second. He's pushing him.
He's giving him a punt.
3 temps, 2 temps. This is going to be all about who can get the last corner then. Let's see, is he going to be Super? Is it going to be Porsche? He's going to try the outside. He's going to try the inside of the last corner. They touch. Oh, he's off. He's off into the wall. My God. And he's waiting up. He's waiting up. And contact in the last corner.
Oh, Lewis. He knew.
And they crossed the line. He's let him through, but I think he might. He won't get it because the penalty got removed.
Yeah, Lewis has lost the win there with a late move. Oh, I think Lewis forgot that he had a penalty and was just like, well, maybe if Lewis didn't go for that move, Brinzelli could have gapped that 3 temps potentially. Oh, right in the lot. I mean, it's nice to see some sportsmanship there. Lewis, he went for the move, it didn't work, he gave it up. I mean, either one of them could have won that race, so, you know, both of them, a fantastic race. Honey Badger's taken 3rd, Noisy comes home in 4th. Wow, what a race.
Well, drama, controversy, carnage, and most importantly, classic racing. Mashiro, meanwhile, across the line in 5th. Conte is going to finish in 6th. Behind that, Luke in 7th. Did not manage to close up in the end. And, of course, Actmini is in 9th. Rosegard in 10th position as well. But what a race with 49/100ths of a second between the top 2.
Heck of a race. Just all race from the start of qualifying. It was Brinzelli versus Edwards, and that is textbook. I mean, the end, I mean, it was unfortunate to see it end like that. I would have liked to have seen it be a drag race to the line, but in the end, sportsmanship was shown. Brinzelli was aggressive, not dirty. He was aggressive. He launched his car up the inside fairly. There's the lobbies just evaporated from existence. Lewis was aggressive. They were both racing for the win, and you know, when it's on the line like that, sometimes you go for a move like that, it doesn't work out, but in the end, Lewis gave it up correctly, and yeah, I don't think it ruined it at all. I think it was a brilliant race. It was brilliant racing up and down the fields.
Indeed. Who was your driver of the day, Ethan?
I'm going to give it to Brinzelli. I mean, he's probably never raced against Lewis. I mean, we've raced against Lewis for years. He's fast on nearly every game he goes on. ACC, Project Cars 2, Gran Turismo 6. He's fast wherever he goes. And we thought Lewis would probably cakewalk this. Brinzelli comes along and gaps him in qualifying. Comes along and gives Lewis a good run for his money, who, you know, races against some of the fastest people in Gran Turismo. So Brinzelli gets my vote, definitely. A heck of a race and a heck of a driver.
My driver of the day is probably, I've got to agree, I think it's between that and Lewis. I'll give it to both. I'll give it to Lewis, actually, because then we both go, because he's just driven a phenomenal race, a bit of contact at the end, a strategy that could have worked, Didn't work. Bit of contact. Yeah, well, that is that. But of course, until next time where we join us in, let me have a little look. I believe it is going to be, I think it's
Monza.
Monza, yeah.
Oh boy.
Next time out. So until Monza, I have been Evil. Ethan has been Ethan. Until next time, take care and goodbye.